So one guitar player that really seems to divide the guitar playing community straight up the middle is John Mayer. Whether you love him or hate him, it's really hard to deny the impact he's had on the electric guitar in the last 20 years. He has become one of the modern day guitar heroes, and some of his techniques and styles can be heard through countless other guitar players. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 5 John Mayer style ideas and concepts you can use in your own guitar playing. So as a guitar player, John Mayer is very much firmly rooted in blues, soul, the classics of music history. A lot of what he learnt was derived from guys like Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Eric Clapton, and that era of music. And over the years, he's developed his own variation on that style of playing. Now, some guitar players, myself included, love John's music and love his playing, and other players out there absolutely hate him. But, like I said at the start of the video, it's really hard to take away from the body of work that he has created, regardless of your opinions of him. So in this video, I want to share with you 5 concepts that you can use to add some John Mayerisms to your own guitar playing. All of the examples I talk about in this video are going to be in the key of G major or E minor, depending on which way you're looking at it. But like with everything musical, you can transpose this to whatever key you want. So gear-wise, I'm using this Baum Guitars Celestor. This is a company out of Denmark that makes some really cool guitars. If you've never heard of these, there's some links down below where you can check them out. This is their take on the classic S-Type. This is plugged into the Blackstar TV-10A, which is running completely clean. That's going via the 2-notes Torpedo Captor X, and the overdrive in the video is coming from the Ceriatone Centura. So now we're going to start on the 5 John Mayer style concepts. Number 1 is John's use of kind of chordal double stop ideas inside of a guitar solo. This is the first lick I played in the solo at the beginning of this video. Here's the lick that we're going to be looking at. Now this is a very typical Mayer style lick, but this is really cool because this can work in a guitar solo context, but this is also something that he would use in a chord sequence as well. So if you're linking chords up, you might use some of these melodic phrases to join the chords as well. So what we're doing here is we're basically playing around 2 different major pentatonic shapes, around 2 different chord shapes. So the first chord shape is an E minor chord, and we're sitting in that 3rd position major pentatonic. And the second chord shape is actually a C, but we're playing this inversion of it with the E in the bass. But that fits into the second shape of the major pentatonic in G. So we're going to be starting in the E minor chord position in the 3rd shape of the major pentatonic with this double stop on the 7th fret of the G and the 8th fret of the B. We're playing those together and hammering onto the 9 of the G. And just moving back and forth like that. You can either do a hammer on pull off or pick the second note. I tend to play that different depending on how I'm improvising and what kind of feel I'm going for. Then we're shifting to a double stop on the 7 of the D and G. And we're doing this lick. So to play that, I'm playing that double stop on the D and G, hammering onto the 9 of the D, and pulling off again back to that double stop, and sliding that down to a double stop on the 5 of the D and G. The lick then goes to this ascending run. This is a bit Hendrixy. This is one of the things that John would have taken from Jimi Hendrix. Double stop on the 5 of the A and D, hammering onto the 7 of the A. Then we're playing a double stop on the 5 of the D and G. Then we're adding our finger onto the 7th fret of the D string, but we're keeping that bar across the double stop on the 5. We're playing that and sliding it up 2 frets to the 7 and 9, and going back to where we started. And hit it once more at the end. Then I just finished up the lick with a simple line. Just playing the 8 on the D, sliding that to the 7, pulling off to the 5. This is a really cool chordal lick, and this will work great when you're bridging chords, or it can be used to start a guitar solo in a melodic way. Here's that lick played slowly. And then once more at full speed. The second thing we're going to look at is John's use of very simple but melodic little guitar motifs. The lick I'm going to be showing you is this. So this one, once again, is in that 3rd position major pentatonic shape. This is kind of like a B.B. King style idea as well. John was a big fan of B.B. King, and some of his phrasing came directly from the B.B. King school of thought. This is a really simple lick, and all we're doing here is we're sliding to the 9 on the G, playing the 8 on the B, and back to the 9. Then we're doing a bend on the 10 of the B, a full step, but we're bending it twice. We're not coming all the way down on that second bend, we're just kind of coming halfway down and back up. Once you've got to the peak of your second bend, we're then taking our index finger off and playing the 8th fret of the high E string. Then we're playing the bend again, which is already up, and we're releasing it. Then we're back to the 8 on the B, the 9 on the G, the 8 on the B again. That 8th fret is a G note, so this is a nice lick because it resolves back to the root chord. You get that nice melodic sensibility with it. So here's that lick played slow. And then once more at full speed. The third idea is looking at the way that John Mayer would lay out notes of the scale along a single string. Now this is really interesting because if you're stuck with your phrasing, this can get you out of all kinds of problems. Here's the example that I played at the start of the video. So in this lick, what I'm doing is I'm taking my G major scale and I'm laying that out along my B string, starting from the G note on the 8th fret. So that's G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. So once you've worked out your scale along a single string, one little fun side note you can do before I show you the lick is actually just put a backing track on and play along one string. See how many different phrasing ideas and licks you can come up with on a single string. It's really fun and you might actually surprise yourself how many cool things you can do. So the lick that I played earlier, we're starting at the 10th fret of the B, we're doing a hammer onto the 12 and sliding up to the 15, all on one string. Then I'm playing the 13, sliding that to the 12, sliding that to the 10. But you'll notice instead of going like one single slide, I'm staggering my slide so I get those 3 notes. So I'm doing a slide to the 12, but I'm not picking again, and then I'm sliding to the 10. Then I'm fretting the 12 of the B, pulling off to the 10 and sliding to the 8. The second part of the lick, I start in exactly the same place, so it's a 10 to 12 fret hammer on, sliding up to the 17, But I'm actually doing this little flurry here. So when I slide it to the 17, I'm very briefly coming back a fret and sliding back up again. So it's kind of 17, 16, 17, but I'm not hanging around on this note long enough for you to really notice it. You don't have to do that double slide. That's just a little mayorism that I like to add. And then I'm playing 15, 13, 12 all picked notes. Then I'm pulling off from the 13 to the 12 and sliding down to the 10. Again, you don't have to pick all those notes. I just like the way that sounds when you do that. You can do a mixture of pull-offs, slides, picking the notes, whatever fits. It's just a cool way of moving around on a single string. This is something John did a lot, especially in the continuum era of his career. So try that one out, that's really fun. Here's that lick played slow. And then once more at full speed. The fourth thing is a really cool thing that I've noticed a lot, especially in recent John Mayer playing, which is when you're playing in a major key, but you introduce a couple of notes from the minor variation of that same key. So this lick is technically in the key of G minor. The lick is this. So instead of this being from the third shape of the major pentatonic in G, we're now using the same scale shape, but we're transposing it to the fourth shape of G minor pentatonic. So that starts here. Now what that means is only one of these notes is technically out of place, because if we play the G major scale, but from the 12th fret position, we end up actually passing through some of those notes, which is the 12th fret on the G and the 13th fret on the B. The note here that's the outlier is this one. This 11th fret on the B string is actually from a G minor chord, and it's the minor third. So over a G major chord, we're playing a minor third note. It's that note right there. The rest of it is technically still in major, but there's that minor third in there that makes this very interesting to listen to. And it's the sort of thing that you wouldn't stick on for too long, but just to throw the occasional minor third of the root chord in there creates some interesting textures. And like I said, this is something I've noticed John doing a lot on more recent albums. This is maybe a new technique or a new thing that he's kind of discovered about his playing that he quite likes. But to my ears, it's very much a Mayer thing. I've not heard anyone else doing this kind of thing, and it instantly makes me think of his playing style. The lick itself is actually very, very simple to play. We're starting on the 12 of the G. We're playing that once. Then we're playing the 13 of the B twice. On the first time, we're bending it up, and then we're cutting that short, and then the second time we pick it, we're back at the start position. If you want to add a bit more of a Mayer-y thing to this, like I did there, you can do a little string rake into the bend. You don't have to play the string rake, but it does add to that Mayer sound. Playing the 11 on the B. There's that minor third that we talked about. This is the note that's technically wrong in this. And then we're doing one of those double bends again from the 13 of the B. We're bending it, releasing it, and bending it up again. And again, you can put that little rake in there if you want. And the second time I played this, I did a similar variation on that lick. So playing the 12 on the G, we're double bending that 13. We're playing the 11, resolving it to the 12. So now we're back on the root note. And then I kind of flip it back to major there by playing the 14 on the D, back to the 12 again. Fun lick that adds a wrong note to the key, but it's, again, like I said, very Mayer-y. Try that out yourself and see what interesting results you get with that. I really like the slight clash that it causes, and it's a very interesting sound that I've not really heard many other guitar players do. So here's that one played slow. And then once more at full speed. And the final thing I want to talk about is his use of kind of repeated semitone bends in a very melodic or vocal kind of way. There's a lick I played in the solo at the start which sort of sums that up, and the lick is this. Now there's a lot of notes to this lick, but it's actually pretty straightforward to play. The execution, however, is very important with this. You'll notice tonally that sounded different because I was actually holding back a little bit with my picking. What I'm not doing is I'm not going, because I don't want to overplay this lick. This kind of sounds a little bit like Born and Raised era John or Paradise Valley John, where he was taking on a bit more of a country Americana sort of vibe. So we're really kind of playing into that sound. We're playing softly. John uses the word weepy a lot. We're kind of going for that very vocal quality here to the idea. So this lick starts in the first shape of the G major pentatonic scale, but up an octave. We're starting on the 15th fret of the B string. We're playing 15 and 17. Then we're going to the 19 to start the bending phrase. When we get to that 19, we're bending it up a semitone to the 20th fret, releasing it, and without picking again, doing 2 more bends. The rhythm of this is very important. We're not doing this like vibrato. We're adding a little bit of swing to this, kind of making it very vocal-like. Notice that it's not quite straight. We're letting it breathe a little bit. Then we're playing 17 and 15 on the same string. Then we're jumping to the 16 on the G string and doing that same idea, bending in a semitone up and down to the 17. Same thing, 3 bends, up and down 1 fret. 14 on the G, 17 on the D twice. Then I put in this little other bending lick, which is I'm raking into the 14th fret of the G, doing that double bend once more. Then I'm doing a pull off from the 14 to the 12, slide down to the 11. Then I'm repeating the entire lick. So let me just play it up to that point. Then we start again. The only difference on the second repeat is instead of coming down to this G note here on the 17 of the D and playing that twice, I play that once and then I play the G on the high E string. And that just rounds off the lick nicely. So that's a really cool melodic, very vocal style lick. Those kind of ideas work all over the fretboard. Like I said, that's very kind of Paradise Valley era. Anywhere you can find a semitone in your scale, it's really cool to bend up and down between them. It very much has a singer-like quality to it. So here's that lick played slowly. And then once more at full speed. So I have mentioned this already, but it's, again, one very important thing about the Mayerisms in your playing is dynamics are very important. And that last lick is a good example of that. If you play that lick too aggressively, it's not going to have that vocal-like quality. You want to pick a little softer, fret a little softer, and allow the guitar to, to use John's words, be a bit more weepy. And then when you're playing some of the more aggressive blues licks, you can dig in a bit more and get that bite. Using dynamics is very important to get that Mayer style sound in your playing because he is a very dynamic player. So yeah, there are 5 John Mayer style guitar ideas. Let me know down below in the comments what your favorite John Mayer guitar idea is and what kind of concepts you've taken from his playing and adapted into your own. These are some of my favorites and I use these kind of ideas all the time in my own playing as well. Let me know what you guys are doing down below in the comments. And don't forget to hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing as well. Thank you guys so much for watching as always. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope these licks are some use to you and you can take them away and add some Mayorisms to your own playing. Thanks for watching as always. I'll see you guys very soon.